Today I'm going to be tying for you a Marabou Tube Fly. This is a very common fly in the fly boxes of steelheaders in the Pacific Northwest if you're looking for winter steelhead. There are many variations of it. I'm going to tie for you my personal variation of it. It's a fly that I have a lot of confidence in, and I've had good success with it over the last several seasons. I have a hook guide on here, and I'm going to slide my tubing on there. You can use whatever tubing you have access to. The tubing is not super important. I'm going to start my thread in a very specific spot. So this is approximately a centimeter from the junction tubing. And the reason I'm starting it there and not further up here is because my fly is not going to extend this far. And I don't want to have thread over here because I'm going to be putting a disc over here later, and I don't want to slide it over top of thread. So I'm starting it approximately a centimeter from the junction tubing. I'm going to slip off that thread. Just give it a few more wraps there. I am going to put on some chenille now. This is fluorescent orange, and I'm going to just pull off some of those fibers to get down to the bare cord, and I'm going to tie that on. The purpose of this chenille, there's two purposes. One, this bright chenille bump is going to be a bit of a hot spot. So when the steelheads see this fly from behind, they'll see that bright spot. The main purpose is I'm going to be tying a shoulder up right against it. And I want this chenille bump to help flare that shoulder, because the shoulder is going to support the marabou that I'm tying on later. A few wraps on top of it, fold it back, several wraps in front, and then I can snip that off. So I am tying today with UTC 70, which is a very light thread for tying these kinds of flies. And the purpose behind that is when I get up to the front, I'm trying to always manage my thread wraps, and I don't want bulk when I get up to the front. So this is going to help prevent bulk from happening. But because I'm using UTC 70, when I make my dubbing loop, which I'm going to make now, I need to double it up. If I don't double it up, it's going to break when I spin it. So if I double it up, it's like using UTC 140, which is a size I use a lot. Now I'm going to make sure I come in around and behind that dubbing loop at least 2 times to close it off. If you don't close it off, then when you put materials in here, they'll slide out. So I'm going to put my dubbing spinner in there now, and a trick I've learned is to bring my bobbin down to the same height at which my dubbing spinner is hanging. And if we put them right next to each other, it'll prevent the dubbing loop from spinning and closing. So the shoulder is Arctic Fox black. I'm tying this fly in black and blue, popular steelhead winter steelhead colors. So I've got a fairly good clump of Arctic Fox here, and it looks like a lot, but I'm going to pull all the underfur out of it, which is going to make it sparser. So I'm going to cut that right up tight to the hide. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it firmly in my left hand, and I'm just going to start pulling out that underfur. You can see a lot of that underfur is coming out. And I don't want that underfur to be in my loop. It will make the loop very bulky. It won't spin very well. And there will also be too much bulk in the actual fly itself, and I don't want that either. So now that I've pulled out a bunch of the underfur, if there's still some underfur in there, I'm going to come in with a comb, and I'm just going to give it a good brush. And that's going to help pull out more of that underfur. And at this point, I'm going to just kind of see how much I have here, start spreading it out a little bit. And I can see that I have a bit more than I want, so I'm just going to pull a little bit of that out. I don't need that much. And once I have it started spreading it out, I'm going to hold that like a scissor in my left hand, and I'm going to open up my dubbing loop and put that in. Now there's a few things I'm looking for here. The first thing I'm going to look for is the length. I want these tips of the hair to be just about the same length, or maybe a bit longer than where the hook guide is. So I'm just going to pull those back a little bit. And then I'm coming in with my bodkin. I'm just going to make sure those materials are evenly spread out. I don't want any clumps. I want them evenly spread out in my dubbing loop. And then the last thing I'm going to look for is over here, the butt ends. The more butt ends I have sticking out on this side, the bulkier my shoulder will be. So if I want a really bulky, dense shoulder, then I'm going to leave these butt ends longer. I don't want a really bulky shoulder this time for this particular fly. I want a prop that's going to support the marabou that I'm going to be tying in here, but I don't want a massive shoulder. So I'm going to come in here and cut these so I've got about 1/4 of an inch. And that's looking good. I'm going to spin that. So I'm just going to put my finger up here in between my dubbing spinner and my material so I can control how much tension there's on there. And I'm going to give it a spin. I'm not going to spin it all the way. So I'm going to spin it part of the way, and I'm going to stop it. And what I like to do in here before I spin it all the way, I like to come in with my bodkin and just very gently start pulling materials out that are looking a little bit trapped. And that prevents it from clumping together. And I'm going to do this quite gently at this stage because it's not fully spun up. If I'm too vigorous, I'll start pulling materials out and clumping them, which I don't want. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to spin it the rest of the way. And it's now fully spun up, and I'm going to come in with my dubbing brush, and I'm just going to give it a good vigorous scrub. If any materials come out at this point, that's okay. They'll fall out anyway later. Now that I have that, I'm going to fold all the hair back. So I want it all folded back, pointing the same direction. And then I'm going to start palmering it forward, and I'm going to make sure that first palmer is right up tight against the chenille. And every time I palm it around, I'm pulling those materials back. So that first one's right up tight against the chenille, and every other wrap is going to be right up tight against the next one. Not on top of it. I don't want to trap materials, but directly in front of it. Always pulling those fibers back, making sure nothing's getting trapped, everything's pointing the correct direction. And I've got about a total of 3 wraps around the tube, which is what I'm looking for. That's a good sized shoulder. And now I'm going to just continue wrapping with the empty dubbing loop, a couple of wraps. It'll just make it more secure. And then I'm going to come over top of it with my thread. And I can cut that dubbing loop off. And then I'm going to wrap backwards with a few wraps so I'm directly in front of it. And then I'm going to come in with my dubbing brush again and just give it a comb, making sure that there are no trapped fibers and everything is pointing the correct direction. The next material is Spey Marabou, and there's a lot of feather here. I don't need all this material that's down here, so I'm actually going to cut that off. It's useful material. I can use it for tying tails and wings and put it in a dubbing loop. So I'm going to cut a piece of this off, and I'll just save that and put it aside for later. The part of this feather that I actually need is just this tip up here, this flexible tip. That's all I need. I'm looking for about 3 wraps. So I'm going to pull all the fibers I don't need off. So I'm going to pull all these fibers off. I don't need them. And I'm going to pull everything off so that I just have exactly the amount I need. When I'm done, I want to be tying on top of stem and not on top of materials. So that's still a bit more than I need. So I'm going to get it prepped like that. And then I'm going to grab it from the tip, and I'm going to pull those feathers, the barbs of the feather down to right angles to expose some stem. And I'm going to tie in on that stem. I'm just going to tie this tip in. So I'm tying it on the side of the tube facing me. And I'm going to tie right on top of that tip. A couple wraps, and I'm going to fold it back, wrap on top of it a couple times, and then I can cut that tip out. And that'll make it nice and secure. I often keep a cup of water at my tying table, especially when I'm working with Spey Marabou. It helps to keep control of all these fibers. So I don't want to soak it. I'm just going to get my fingers damp, and I'm going to take the barbs and I'm going to stroke them back, just getting them all pointing the same direction and keeping them in control. I'm going to do that first wrap directly in front of that shoulder. It'll help to support the materials better and flare it. And every wrap I do, I'm folding back those barbs on the feather, making sure that nothing's getting trapped. And every wrap is directly in front of the one previous to it, but not on top of it. So that got me exactly 3 wraps, which is what I was looking for. And then I'm tying off on top of bare stem. There are no parts of the feather trapped beneath it, my tying thread. So I did 2 wraps on top, fold it back, 2 wraps in front, and I can cut that off. Next material is grizzly saddle hackle. I actually got that backwards. Ideally, if you can get a hold of a full saddle cape, that is perfect, because feathers off the right and side curve different directions. And you want to have some feathers curving off towards the right, like this one, and you want some feathers curving off towards the left on the opposite side. So this one's curving off towards the right, which is what I want. And I want a tie fly that's about 2.5 to 3 inches long. That's my go-to size for winter steelhead flies. So I'm going to measure that out, and I like where that tip is, and I'm going to pinch it with my fingers where I want to tie it into, and I'm going to pull those fibers back so that they're at right angles. Then I'm going to pull those off, so I know exactly where that tie-in point is going to be. And then I can, once I've got those fibers off, I can snip that off. And I've prepped all the other feathers already. So I'm going to tie this so it's facing off towards the right and angling down towards the right. So I've got the stem facing towards myself and the feather facing away. And I'm just going to tie it directly on top of that. And then I'm just going to adjust it a little bit to make sure it's sitting how I want and it's at the length I want. And I have another feather prepped here already. And this one is naturally curving off to the left. Now, if you can't get a hold of a full cape, you can use half saddles, which are much easier to find. You just need to find the most flexible feathers. So I've tied that in. I'm just going to make sure that it is the same length as one that's already there. And I'm going to do a couple wraps on top because I like where they're sitting. I'm going to take those stems, get a hold of that stem. I'm going to fold them back and do a couple wraps directly on top. And I can snip those out. Just got to find that one in there and snip it out. It's buried in there. I can't see it, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to put a little bit of flash in this fly. Not a lot. I have some pearl Flashabou dyed blue. And I'm actually going to bring my thread up a little bit. Still making sure I'm not going to be past where I put that disc later. And I'm going to tie in 3 of these strands on the side of the tube facing away from myself, and then wrap back so that I am back up against the marabou. And then I'm going to fold that back so that it's now on my side. So I've got 3 fibers, 3 strands of marabou opposite me, 3 on my side. I'm just going to cut those off here and make sure that they're not all exactly the same length. Now I have that flash in there. I've pre-prepped another spay marabou feather. This one's black. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull those fibers down so that they're at right angles to the stem. And I'm going to tie that tip in on bare stem, right in front of the previous marabou feather. And I can cut that tip out. Again, I'm going to just get my fingers damp. I'm going to organize these fibers so that they're all facing towards the back. And I'm going to start that first wrap directly in front of that royal blue spay marabou feather that I've just tied in. Every single time I palmer it around, I'm always just taking my time, making sure that no barbs of the feather being trapped. I want to make sure they're all able to move freely in the current, pointing in the same direction toward the back. And again, that was 3 wraps, and I'm on bare stem. I'm going to tie that off. A couple wraps on top, fold it back, a couple wraps in front, and then I can tie it off. And I'm actually going to flip it so that I have my tube upside down. And I'm going to tie in 2 more saddle hackles here in teal blue. So this one's facing off towards the right, which I've pre-prepped. When I'm tying it in, I've got the stem facing towards me and the feather away. And I want to make sure that's about the length I want it. They don't have to be exactly the same length as the natural grizzly saddles. And this one's going to come towards me, so the stem's facing away from me. I want these ones to be the same length, and they are. So a few wraps on top, fold those stems back, a couple wraps on top, and snip them off. Just gonna rotate that back. Actually, I'm gonna leave it where it is. This is good. And I have one more royal blue spay marabou that I'm gonna put on. Again, pre-prepped. So I'm gonna fold those fibers down. Right angles, fine bare stem. Tie it in, couple on top, fold it back, couple on top, and snip it off. Again, gonna moisten my fingers just a little bit. I don't want to soak the feather. I'm just getting it. It just helps to control those barbs. And again, looking for approximately 3 wraps, but every feather is unique. Sometimes I'll get 2 wraps and think, and it's good. Sometimes I need 4. I'm always just kind of judging it by the feather and how much material I want. And this one again is going to work out at 3, which is perfect. And notice how where I'm tying off now, I got no thread wraps out in front of my material. I'm right up against it. So I got 2 on top, a couple in front, and then I can cut that off. And that's important because when I slide the disc on here, I don't want a bunch of material way out here. That's going to make it difficult to get the disc on the way I want to. Just gonna organize those feathers a little bit more. And then I'm gonna do a whip finish, and I'm gonna use my fingers. And I like to use my fingers because that allows me to maneuver around the end of that tube, which I haven't cut yet. And I'm just gonna do 3. And I like to use my scissors to guide that loop up. It will help prevent me from trapping feather fibers in there. Then I can cut that off. I'm going to put a disc on this, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there, and the glue is more for sealing the thread wraps than for holding the disc on. That's a little more glue than I need, but that's okay. I'm going to slide the disc on, and I'm just going to spin it around a little bit to get the glue on all the thread wraps and get it settled in there, and then I can take it off and cut the tube.
Okay, now I'm going to cut that tube off, and I like to cut it with a razor blade. It just makes it smoother. Scissors will sometimes pinch in the tube. So I'm going to cut that at approximately 2 millimeters-ish, in that range.
Now that I've cut the tube, I like to place it back on the needle, and what I'd like to do is take the needle and put it at right angles in the vise, and I'll slide the tube up, take my lighter, and that gives me the angle so that I get just blue flame, and I just want to touch it. Just going to touch it, and then I'm going to slide it back over the needle to prevent the hole from changing its diameter all. And that's the fly.